Louis, if you want to, you can
Cool,
stay
no
on for a
problem.
little bit more. Yaku, if you need to go, you're more
Sure.
than welcome. But I think let's hop over to Jodie. We don't have any more questions on the paragliding, so then Jodie can quickly have a discussion with us around the skydiving that she went to do. So Jodie, you know, maybe you can just quickly chat to us about, you know, how did you learn about the skydiving, and what made you decide to actually jump?
I'm Mariska and everyone that's tuned in. Thank you so much for this opportunity to chat about my experience. I was lucky to bump into a friend of mine who is a skydiving fanatic, and I felt like he was calling my bluff because he offered a free skydive, and I was like, oh, you know what? Let's just do it. Ha ha ha. And before I knew it, I had a phone call the next day and I was booked in. And yeah, so that was, I don't know, probably a good thing, because I think if I overthought it too much, I might have not done it. Yeah, so I was really lucky to have that opportunity, especially that it's free. It's quite expensive in general. I think it's between 2.5, 3,000 rand. So at the point I'm at now, I'd rather spend that on flights to Cape Town or something. So it was just really, really awesome to get that for free. And then arrived there, and the story got better because I found out that it was actually the start of a new program that they had just joined called Free Fly for 30. And the motivation behind that was that a friend of theirs passed away, and he was just a huge adventure guy. He was very passionate about the minority groups in our world, and they just thought that offering people with disabilities the opportunity to skydive maybe once a month or once every 2 months would kind of keep his spirits alive and keep his memory alive. So as soon as I heard that, I was sold. It didn't matter what I was thinking about skydiving. I knew that if I could just encourage this new program and be a part and be honored to be the first one as well, I was just so excited. So yeah, that's how we started this. Yeah, it was crazy. I don't know. I get asked a lot if I would do it again, and it would have to be like my 10-year anniversary of my injury, or like maybe 30th birthday or something. But yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, and I thank you also for mentioning the cost involved, because there is unfortunately a cost involved, but we will share the information on the program that you've mentioned, because again, like if there's anyone who wants to go jump, and then please take up this opportunity to go and jump for free. It's really, it's worth it. I mean, I'm asking the questions now, but I've also jumped before, so I've got first-hand experience of what it feels like as well. So awesome. So yeah, I think now, having led up to the actual jump, maybe you can tell us a bit about how was that, the flight up, the jump out of the airplane, the landing, all of that things. What was your favorite moment?
So there was quite a lot of build up. I got there at about 7 in the morning. I thought, okay, we're going to jump maybe at 8, 8:30. I only jumped at 11. So it was a few hours of seeing everyone else jump before me, and it just like started building. And then I had to change into my little jumpsuit and watch the video. So yeah, feelings were high, anxious. Yeah, it was good. And then we made our way to the plane, and my first question was, have they done this before? Who's going to be jumping with me? Is this okay? I'm sure others with disabilities understand that you need a lot of preparation just in general with everything. So I phoned my doctor beforehand, and she was not impressed, but it can be done. So yeah, I just made sure that the guy I was jumping with, his name was Vernon, had been with someone with my kind of injury, because as everyone knows, we're also different. So I can't just expect a wheelchair user to be the same for everyone. Yeah, so then we got to the plane, and they had to pick me up and put me in. And then the flight up was also, it was 25 minutes, and there's no doors on the plane. So it was just like loud and like stimulating, and the air was getting colder as we were getting higher, and I could see like the cars, and then I couldn't see the cars anymore, and I was like, oh no. And then we got to 9,000 feet, which is about 3 Ks. And I think it's a funny moment now, but at the time it wasn't. They kind of trick you. They're like, okay, 1, 2, and then they jump. So there's actually a video of me like looking back as he's counting, and then they jump on 2, and you just see my face like, like very caught off guard. And then we were in free fall for about like 8-10 seconds. That wasn't great. It was very overstimulating. It was just like a lot of wind in my face, and like my heart felt like it was pumping. But then as soon as he pulled the parachute, Oh my word, that was my best moment. It was just going from like complete chaos to like the silence, and like you could actually see what you were doing for a second, and you looked around, and it was pure freedom. Like I've written an article for Rolling, and I just describe this moment of like, like you're just so far away from the world, and I don't know, it was just really, really life changing. And we flew down for about 10 minutes, and he gave me the reins, so I got to fly a bit, which was so exciting. And just I couldn't believe what I was doing in the moment. And when I got to the ground and saw my family and friends, and everyone was crying, and I'd realized like this is a big deal. Skydiving in general is huge, and now here I am with like disability and like just doing it. So I was really, really stoked. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think, and I think that's a big thing that you mentioned as well, is like skydiving on a general, there's not a lot of people who do it, because it is a bit of like a very daunting thing to do, but then to also do that, and having a disability, whatever disability that might be, is in itself a very huge achievement and a very daring thing. So that's awesome. I think from my side as well, some questions that I have now as someone who's also skydived, just in terms of like the technicalities of how they did that, because I know when you're in the flight, there's usually a situation. So in my case, we were sitting nearby, but then when you get to the point where you have to jump, you get strapped to the individual. Then you have to have your legs outside the airplane, so it's kind of dangling in the wind, and then they jump. So how did that work in terms of your disability? Did they help strap up your legs, or how did that work?
Yeah, so I felt like a little baby getting strapped on, because they needed to lift my legs as well. So I kind of was just holding my knees, and yeah, it's very similar to your story. We only in the plane started strapping, and they were making very inappropriate jokes about the ropes, and I was like, oh no, please. But yeah, it was fun. And then he basically like used strapping to release my legs as well. So just for the jump, I was tied up, and then as we were getting like, I think it has to do with aerodynamics or something, that like maybe it was too much, I'm not sure. But he released my legs as we were doing free flying, and then when we were going to land, he pulled them up again. And to be honest, the landing was my biggest fear. I've had like a few horror stories of people getting hurt, so I was just really nervous. But he explained how he was going to do it, and he did. He just lifted me like a baby on his chest, and he landed on his butt like so it was I was really impressed. Yeah.
So just also to explain to anyone who doesn't know, when I talk about dangling, so what happens is, because you're flying at such high altitude and at such high speeds, as soon as you put your legs outside the airplane, they just go whoop to the side. So you need to actually use your muscles to keep your legs straight and in place. So obviously that's why they were strapping. Yeah, they were just strapping you up to make sure that you don't go dangling, in the wind. Because I mean, I had some difficulty with that. And then obviously as well, I remember with my jump, what happened is they very deliberately tell you don't look down, because what can happen is when you look down and something happens and you quickly look up, you can actually knock the person behind you. So they had to keep like, so when I was jumping, they kept putting my head back up, saying you can't look down, but it's such a natural instinct to want to see where am I falling. So I think things like that as well, like the strappings and things, it's all about safety and making sure that you land safely. But that's it's great to hear that they were so thorough, and that you were kept really, really safe. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
also sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I get asked a lot if I would have skydived before my accidents, and I actually don't think I would have. Hey, like I really do think that now is like the time that I'm trying to try everything, because why not? Like, let's just get out there. But yeah, my previous life, I don't think that girl was that adventurous. So it's awesome, and it's nice to be experiencing this. I know it sounds silly, but like with a disability, it's really interesting, and it's encouraging to know that there is adaptions out there. Like I never thought there would be an option to skydive until a friend of mine who's like in my circle mentioned that. So it's just also nice to cause awareness that there isn't limitation.
Yeah, I mean, you can really go and do almost anything, you know, just with the right precautions and meeting the right people. Because also, again, I wouldn't recommend that anyone just go skydiving anywhere. Please make sure that wherever you go skydiving, that they've actually had some experience, because otherwise they wouldn't know what you did. Like you also, and I love that you also said that you took the precautions. You went to talk to your doctor and things beforehand, making sure that it's safe for you to jump. So that's awesome.
I was a bit nervous about like blood pressure issues. I don't know if I was going to do some damage. I don't know if it was good for my back, who's had a lot of ops. So yeah, just be a little bit aware.
Yeah, to taking those precautions wherever they need to be. And also I just want to mention as well, so I've also bungee jumped. Now this sounds like I'm making this webinar about me. It's not that, but a lot of that experience that you have at the beginning when you're free falling, which is only actually a couple of seconds before they open the chute and you just glide down, that's a very similar experience to what you had when you go bungee jumping. So anyone who's always wanted to go bungee jumping and now can't, or whatever the case might be, skydiving is a good alternative to that as well, because you get a bit of both, so which is awesome. So I also just wanted to find out from you, you know, what are the things, so you did touch on it briefly, but what are some of the things, like a kind of like a checklist that you would ask wheelchair users just to know about and to keep in mind before they jump?
I would say that I would have a checklist, and I would include every single step. So, okay, changing into the jumpsuit. I never really thought about that. And depending on how different their injuries are, you might need a bit more of assistance. So I was really lucky. I took my parents and my best friend and sister with me. So I would say the first thing on the checklist is a supportive system. Take a few friends or family. And then just think of each step. So the next one was getting in the plane. I needed someone to carry me. Once I was landed, I needed someone to help me get off the floor into my chair again. Just the little things that people without disabilities don't realize that we have to think of. Yeah, but we kind of know what we need. So as long as you have that support system, I think you could do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also, as you were saying, just doing a bit of research about what is the entire process, what is it going to entail? Because something you can also maybe mention is that a lot of times the place where you land, your landing is not in necessarily an accessible zone. I know in mine we landed in sand. I know with you landed in grass. So you need to make sure that can your wheelchair get there? If not, like what is your plan B to make sure you get back to your wheelchair?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah. And then finally, I think just, you know, would you recommend it to other people?
I would just do it. Just do it once. It's fun. It's a bucket list activity. It's good. I don't know. I don't want to discourage anyone. I would say do it. I think it's great. And if you get an opportunity, like Free Fly for Fruity is available to you, take it. It's amazing to know that you're doing it towards something as well.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, guys, so we are going to open up the chat for anyone who wants to ask any questions. If you have anything that you want to know about Jodie, or if you want to know about the skydiving, please feel free to add your questions. That also goes to our viewers on Facebook. I do see there is a comment from Susie. She just said, "You are very, very brave to skydive. Well done." And I think a lot of people feel that way. It's a very daunting thing to think about skydiving. Okay, and then
I see a question there.
Yeah, so Susie just wanted to know, was your back okay with the landing?
I felt very supported. My tandem jumper's name was Vernon, and like I said, I was strapped to him. So my chest and my back were against him, and I think that offered a lot of support. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as you mentioned as well with the landing, he kind of pulled you in even tighter to make sure that, you know, you both were safe.
Yeah.
And so on. So
and his chest was here, and then his head was here. So it was quite a nice like backrest.
Yeah. I think that's something some people don't always realize about skydiving, is you're not directly in front of the person, you're slightly below them. So your head is usually around their chest area. Around here. And so, you know, it's not entirely on top of the person, which is great. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Is there anything that you maybe just want to add? Oh wait, Raven, do you have anything that you would like to ask?
Yes, please. Yeah. Jodie, well done. And sharing your experience also, both now and in the magazine also. Yes. And I know you said that you were expecting to jump at 8 o'clock. So, but I don't know if that was just a delay. But if you, in your experience, what would the timing be? Say from the time you arrived here until the time that you land, just in terms of planning, especially when you want to plan a bathroom break or those things. What is the timing from start to finish, please?
I think from changing into your suit, watching the video, I think the whole process is about 3 hours. It is quite long. But I think they wanted me to get there sooner so they could tell me about the free flower for Fruity. I wasn't aware of that at the time. So yeah, it was just a personal thing that there was extra time before that. But in total, about 3 hours.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, if I can also just add to that.
Even though the whole jump is actually only like 25 minutes.
Yeah, if I can actually add to that as well, like I think that's a general practice where they ask you to arrive about 2 or 3 hours early, just to make sure that if everything is fine, they can get you set up. And obviously there's also conditions that they need to take in consideration. If it's overcast or very windy, that's going to impact them as well. So yeah.
Yeah, actually, can I quickly add one thing? I was meant to do it on the 1st of February, and I mean the 29th on leap year, and the weather was bad, so they moved it the next day. But I was so excited to take this leap on leap year. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But you next, Raven.
I don't know. He doesn't look very confident about that.
No, I'm going to contact Louise and Jaco after this, and we're going to swap some sports. I can see it.
Yeah, that's okay.
I see it. Yeah, definitely, because it is it's an opportunity of a lifetime, I have to say, and it is some items that will be left on bucket list. And the more people exposed to it, and the more sharing the success stories like we are doing now, I'm sure that the more people will be introduced to it.
More
I wanted to
encouragement.
use encouragement. Yes, I wanted to use the example earlier on with Jaco and with Louis, because I know that Louis can testify to it. If a person gets into a sports chair, that is where the bug bites him or her. So the opportunity also, if they get exposure to these type of activities, I think that quite a few lives will be changed.
No, that's definitely true, Raven. And I actually wanted to mention it earlier that I see you doing well. I haven't seen you in a rugby chair for a while, eh?
Yeah, Louis, that is one of the things that I miss now. It can also be seen as an extreme sport. So I'll allow you to give us more input at the later stage, maybe in a forum like this. But you know, and I know also the joys and the thrills that we have and get out of these experiences and sports. And we know how good it is when we know how good it is for our health and our mental health being.
True, definitely.
Great.
Yeah, so to you and Jaco, thank you very much, guys, for all the input.
No problem. Thanks for giving us the opportunity, guys. Much appreciated.
Thank you for everyone who's spent, given up time in their day to come and join us. Louis, Jodie, to share your experience. We really appreciate that. And we're sure it's going to help many other people to feel confident in approaching these. And again, guys, there is many opportunities for you to go and participate. As Jodie also mentioned, there's a program to help you get into the air and try skydiving if you want to. So please do that. And then, yeah, thank you so much, Jodie.